So I'm sorry.
That's a nice little camera that you have. It's cool.
Yeah, there's about is the volume. Good morning, everybody on Zoom. Can you hear us? Yep, they're shaking their heads. Alrighty.
Somebody's underwater.
Welcome.
Somebody's underwater.
Yeah, that sounds like that.
Or it's up to you. Would you rather do a meeting and then? I just have it on my calendar. Hi, how are you? Nice to see you too.
I'm so glad I brought the jacket because it's chilly. Yeah, I forgot mine.
It's gonna be 90, but one.
I know. Good morning.
Good morning.
Does that work? If not, I'll just take it off in a moment. And
Let
then
me go,
And,
let me go do my walkabout
okay,
and I'll come back in.
perfect. Awesome.
Great.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the first general board meeting of Weston High School's PTO. Thank you so much for coming out. We're really, really appreciative of everybody joining, becoming members. How many of you are also volunteers? We're so appreciative. Last year we had a fantastic year, and it's beautiful to see so many of the old faces and welcome new faces. Want to welcome our class of 2027 families. We're really excited to welcome our freshmen on board. There's already been a huge kickoff. The class of 2027 parent reps came in during orientation for our students. There's a new program called Link Crew that the school brought in. There are a number of student volunteers from the upper grades who welcomed and brought freshmen on board. And then our parent reps were there at the end of their day at orientation, giving away and greeting and meeting some of the freshmen. There's some new pennants that are being given out district-wide. Commemorative pennants for each school. So there's one for Harvard, one for West, one for middle school, one for the high school. And they've been gifted to the freshmen as a gift from Weston High School PTO as a thank you. And it was really nice to be there I dropped in, saw the energy, and it's really nice to meet our PTO parent reps from the class 2027 and all the students. There's a lot of great energy there that day. We're gonna start the meeting off, a few updates and things to go over, and we'll head over to our treasurer, our communications chairs, and a number of our chair people, and aim to stop at about 9. So Megan Canetta can come and introduce her slide deck. She has a lot of updates for us, which I'm looking forward to hearing. So first up, we have had some open PTO board roles that were filled. They've been approved by our exec board. And want to let you know that we're super appreciative that Carly Adler has taken on our communications role. She'll be the person who will be pushing out our newsletter and email communications throughout the year. We very importantly needed a webmaster this year, and Tammy Roberts has stepped in to be our webmaster, which is great. There's a lot of things to do, including updating sales forms, our calendar, and a number of other things. And we have a new website. I'll talk about that a bit more. And we, this year, as there is no past president role, we moved to nominate an executive advisor, somebody who's been on the exec board in the past, who can help as an advisor. That would serve in the same way a past president would. And we nominated and elected Casey Saucy, who's been a member of the leadership team at the high school PTO for many years and brings a wealth of wisdom, and we're very happy to have her join us in that capacity this year. As far as our approach this year, last year we brought in sort of our brand values or our vision, approaching things with a focus on community, caring, and connection. It was really important to us coming out of the lockdown and period of the early 2020s where we weren't able to come on campus, we weren't able to see each other. So it was really great to start seeing people in person again and have our meetings in person. We still offer hybrid. We kicked off last year with in-person hybrid meetings, so people can still Zoom in because we tend to have a tremendous presence of members who join us on Zoom from work or wherever they might be, and we welcome your participation wherever you are, here or in person. Some things we're adding to continue with the focus on caring and connection. We're going to be bringing back our coffee and conversation. I believe we've got 2 on the schedule where we have a meetup here at the high school. A little different from your regular PTO meeting. We don't go through all the business of a general board meeting. We get to connect. Last year we had one with the superintendent and one with Megan Canetta and her principal's team here at the high school. We're still going to be bringing out refreshments for students during exams. It was one of the caring things that we wanted to do, refreshments and snacks. Last year we did hot chocolate during midterms, which was really welcome. End of year we did lemonade and granola bars and a variety of other goodies. The way the exams are broken up, there's an early morning period, there's a break, and then there's a second exam period each day of the exam schedule. So we have a little refreshment period courtesy of the PTO. Big news, we have our new website, which is going along well so far, and I know I need some wood to knock on, but it's a great improvement. Some of you may or may not know the website we've been using for years called League Athletics. That platform is being phased out. So we were really pressed to make a decision and choose a new provider for our web, everything from setting up our sales. The good news is we were familiar and had a relationship with Membership Toolkit. They are who we always did our membership drives through, and we just purchased that function of the website. Now we have a full soup to nuts program with Membership Toolkit. We've got calendars, which we can integrate with the district calendars. If you pop on the website, if you have a chance, it's really, really good. We're still tweaking it and adding more details every day, but I think it'll be great. It has also a volunteer feature where you can go to the PTO website and just see what's up and coming as far as volunteer opportunities. It'll make it a more organized way for us to recruit earlier and give people a heads up for when we may need an extra helping hand on campus with the various things we help out with. So membership is also in progress. We're doing really well. I think the membership drive went live last week and we've already got over 100 members, which I think is great. I'm really impressed with, it seems as though it's been going smoothly because we've had quite a few people register and not very many queries about how do I do this. So it's going really smoothly. I should give a shout out to my peers at the Carlbet Elementary School and with Maria Robotham and Kelly James, the PTO presidents at the lower schools, really pushed to get the relationship going with Membership Toolkit and helped us get that together. So a big thank you to them. They're probably not watching this, but I am super appreciative because they got it going for all 4 schools, so we're ready to go. And the heads up, last year we did a meetup at Milestone after back to school night. It's on our new calendar online. All parents are invited. It's an informal gathering, you know, meetup, have an hors d'oeuvre, purchase something, just come out. And we'd love to see any of our new families who want to come out. Everybody, it's just a long day, but it's a nice hour and a half or so after back to school night wraps up here. Everybody can head up to Milestone. We'd love to see everybody there. Want to touch briefly on the staff appreciation program. We have a couple of initiatives throughout the year that we do. Our first one is a kickoff at the beginning of the school year where we invite all the teachers on their first day back to food truck. We had TCO come out this year. Our chair people, Tammy Roberts and Jenna Sumi, coordinate that, and just want to say thank you to them for representing PTO at our staff appreciation event. Carrie Schaefer also came that morning to help meet and greet and make sure everything went smoothly with the staff appreciation initiative for the beginning of the year. And just a heads up, we will have it's not on the agenda, but our student government liaison, Jaya Sharma, will be joining us when she can between classes. I think she's coming during take 10, but we'll do a quick pause and give her the opportunity to give her updates from the Student Government Association. We, as the PTO, do a lot to support the student government activities. We'll help them sell tickets. We'll make a contribution for them to purchase things like decorations for homecoming floats or decorations for the gym. And a lot of actual physical volunteering as well as a few donations. And I think that covers it for me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just want to go over those highlights. Please do join if you haven't already joined the PTO. Your membership really makes a big difference, and we appreciate it. We're going to step up to Mona next on the agenda.
Okay.
Do you want to pause for a second?
Oh,
I just,
I'm sorry that I just need to spread out with you and just pass out.
It's wonderful, but there's no parking out there, so.
Yeah. If you guys don't mind just taking one of each and then just passing it in. Oh, my, yeah, they'll be.
Right, Casey, I want to ask you, so we walking across the street.
Yeah,
I think there's a program along with the looking.
it was hard to find parking.
That's a fun, have you guys there a lot besides.
But I definitely
lots of
thought-
because people turn up.
The Indo Shaka.
Oh, yeah, like, not know.
earlier, yeah.
You can park in front of the building.
Yeah, there are 3 different things. Follow the parking lot, where the. There's a lot of. But when I first came over, you were ready.
I did, yes. I'm sorry, you may-
Oh, okay.
Banana
confusing me.
Do you need us to add email addresses or anything, or just the name?
No, just the
Just the name.
like the fresh one there.
Yes.
We could go online. You can register. I saw your email.
I'll do that now.
So that's very important.
I'll do that. Thanks.
Where you, when you sign up, when you become a member, you start receiving the newsletter, the information by email, so it's.
4 handouts, yeah.
I tried to, of course, I tried to join the middle school.
Handouts. Here we go.
I just did it.
Crazy, so, but I was on my phone, so maybe that was the reason, it wouldn't offer me like pay much.
I created and I tested it and I joined and then you do it on your phone on your computer.
Yeah, I'll just try it out, I mean, that's probably what it is, like.
Maybe you have
it's
to
weird,
But
but, yeah, it wouldn't offer me the pay. page one.
They'll be coming. Got it. So we're doing budget.
But did you join the?
I did, because I just gave up, I just said I'll do it on the computer at the same time.
Can you touch try the high school? Yeah, so maybe there is a problem in general with the.
I can find out. Yeah.
I mean, if nobody else has said anything. I'll be quiet.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll find. Yeah. you can also find-
Bar right. Well, without walking. Yeah, you can put like one hard.
I think I just have to be here when we get to 9:30, right? You're gonna, okay, let me find out.
I appreciate it.
So I'll get started with the July end of year financials. That'll be on top, it'll say monthly operating report for the year ending July 31st, 2023. And since our last updates now, we received payments of interest of 10 cents. But we've also made payments for staff appreciation for $2,199. The PTO luncheon for $1,792. Payments for hospitality for $40. We paid out our PGE insurance for $525. And we also made a payment for our membership toolkit subscription for $1,000. And that at the end of July left us with a balance of $457.31. So that's operating through the end of the year. Any questions on operating? Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next handout, and the top should read our monthly philanthropy report for the year ending July 31st, 2023. The top number should read a philanthropy cash balance of $50,834, if that helps. So since our last update, we did receive and pay out some money for our ACT course. We did net, I think we lost a little money on our ACT course from what I can tell here. It looks like we after payments to our professors, we netted down to a negative $1,279. But we did have the road race, very successful road race, and since our last update, we received $20,860, which left us with we ended the year with $23,670 for the road race, which is amazing. We also made payments for our citizenship awards for $500, payments for our general spirit awards of $381, and class spirit fund. We paid out about $500 for the class of 24, 25, and 26. We also received money from Amazon Smiles of about $60. We received PGE donations of $2,800, which is then transferred over to our PGE account. And the class of 2023 had a very successful PGE event. At the end of the day, we ended up with a balance of $57,519. And if you turn the page, there'll be a box. The box represents of that amount what has been allocated that we are earmarking for other events, or things that we're earmarking for future expenses. So we've allocated $20,940. So for the year ending 7/31/2023, we ended up with a cash balance of $36,579. So any questions on our year-end operating or philanthropy budgets or expenses?
What does PGE stand for, sorry?
PGE is our post-grad event, so that's for our seniors. It's a special event held right after graduation. Thanks. Yeah, you're welcome.
And so the 36,000 here includes the race fund, that's an extra new balance for the year.
It does, yes, yes.
Wonderful.
Mhm. There might be some more road race expenses that do trickle in, but that happens, yes, that'll flow through to the next year.
I have a quick question.
Mhm.
Difference between professional development fund and professional development.
So the professional development fund is something that it's like $2,000 that we budget at the beginning of the year. For the school, for if they have any like teachers that want to go to an event or a seminar, so we will budget $2,000. So that money was on top as of the end of July 31st. So there was a philanthropy request for $9,400. So we said, why don't we use the $2,000 that we already approved towards that philanthropy request? And then we're gonna earmark, if you look a little below, it says professional development, 7,400. We took the remainder and earmarked it for the philanthropy request. So, yep. Anything else?
Mona,
Yeah.
the principal discretionary fund, we didn't. I see a zero in here.
Because at the end of the year, we paid out the 4,000 that was allocated. So at the end of the year, we don't have anything allocated for July 31st, but when I do the budget.
Oh, okay, so the new year is
is
in the budget. Okay,
Yes, it'll
sorry,
be
sorry.
in next
Yeah.
year's budget, yeah.
Can I just add one thing back to your question? So that was for the challenge success workshop that were included for the staff, the students and the parents. So we'll probably hear more about that. Okay, but that's what that was.
All right, thanks. I have a question from home on Zoom.
Yeah.
Lynn Millman asks, I thought Amazon Smile program was ending. Is it still going? If so, should we remind people to use it?
Yeah. It's over.
But it's ended.
Yeah,
Okay, so we won't see any funds
no,
for next year. This is probably just what was trickling in
Right.
from, okay.
Right, from the.
From
while we're
last
still
year.
active. I think it ended in February.
Okay.
Roughly.
So there might be a timing of when we actually receive the funds.
Yeah.
When it ends it. So there's small amounts that come in, but which is probably why we're in it, but.
Yeah.
Anything else for the July 31st financials, year-end financials, any questions? All right, with that, can I get a motion to approve the year-end financials? Casey, thank you. May I get a second? Lacey, thank you. Any opposed? All in favor? Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Motion passes. I'm gonna go through the budget now for our upcoming year. So the next spreadsheet will say on top, it'll say draft budget for the year ending July 31st, 2024. Okay, so for operating, what I did here is I put our proposed budget, but then I also put our actuals for 22, 23, and 21, 22, just so you guys, for comparison purposes. So for next year, we budgeted $10,150 for our membership dues. We are raising our membership dues from $20 to $25, so we felt that that was reasonable based on the number of memberships we had last year. We also brought down our donations to be comparable to what we had last year. So that left us with total operating income of $10,650. And then just down the line for the expenses, our accountant, we pay for our yearly tax return. Administrative costs, we kept it about 500. It was a little low last year. I'm not sure if everybody was submitting for all of their expenses, but that does look a little low compared to the year before. So we kept it at 500. Our insurance here is just for the insurance that we need for the PTO. And then there's PGE insurance that we need for the post-grad event. We need to have insurance for the venues that they go to. So we budgeted that for about $800, a little bit more than last year, because I think that's just like a cushion in case maybe there's more venues this year. I'm not sure what the plan is, but we just wanted to make sure that was there, because if the class 24 does more venues, there will be possibly more insurance costs. But so we just wanted that as a cushion. Programs, we leave it about $100 for the programs are, if sometimes like at these PTO meetings, we have a speaker who sometimes requires payment. So we have $100 that's budgeted there, just in case. And then for hospitality, it's for, these types of events where there might be, some food and just some snacks. So we have $400 for hospitality, and then our PTO end of year luncheon, we have at $1,500. For our publicity and printing, we kept our communications and website, we put it at $1,000 because there might be some new costs associated with our membership toolkit, which is our new platform. And then for directory, we have expenses of about $1,000 budgeted for the printing of directories. Other than that, we have staff appreciation for $47.50 for the various events that we'll do throughout the year, leaving us with a total operating expense of $10,650. Any questions on the operating budget for next year? And now on to my last link for our philanthropy budget. The top should read our monthly philanthropy report for the year ending July 31st, 2024. So at the top, I have our cash balance as of July 31st or August 1st, which will agree to our July 31st financials, the $57,519. Some of the things that we're looking to approve this year are, we'd like to continue to make our a payment for our principal's discretionary fund of $4,000. That'll be $1,000 a quarter. It's basically a payment that goes out to our principal. It is what I mean. When it's their discretion to pay for something that they may need for a student or anything that they need for certain expenses that might arise. We're proposing to make a $500 donation to the Weston Education Foundation. And then Sharon, this is the professional development fund that we $2,000 that we try to approve at the beginning of the year for the upcoming year.
Mhm.
And the reason I have here the professional development fund June 2023 of $9,400 is I have to hold on to those funds because the check had not been cut as of July 31st. So I'm just holding on to that money. So that's from the last report. We also have payments of $400 earmarked for ads in the playbills for the plays. $500 for the citizenship awards that go out to, I guess, 2 students at the end of the year. We have $500 budgeted for our PTO parent award. We have $800 budgeted for community cup. And we're putting in $500 for our homecoming dance. And then below, the next couple of lines are all our general spirit and then spirit funds for all the various classes. And for SPED, we've allocated some funds so they could do some fun activities for the children throughout the year. And the total of that is $23,850. And below are just some of the funds that kind of the classes accumulate funds throughout the year. So just at the bottom there, I have class fundraising. It's just kind of what the classes, the various classes are going into the year with. And then the PGE fund of $754 is just the remaining money from last year's PGE from the class of 2023, which they are donating to the class of 2024. So you'll see that in your financial in August. So the class of 2024, for example, you're starting the year off with $94.64, which I'll hold on for you guys, and then plus the $754, which will get moved into your account. And so that leaves us with a total allocated funds of $32,995. And after allocations, we'll have a balance of $24,525 to start the year off with. Questions? Yeah, yes.
So help me understand, because I know we still got, so we've written the check for the so the only outstanding philanthropic thing was the professional development, everything else has already been paid out.
Yes.
Oh.
And I actually have that, I have
Yeah,
the
no, I
check
was-
today,
okay,
so I'm
great.
gonna say, yeah,
Perfect.
they
thank
just
you.
sent me an invoice
Okay.
for that.
That's-
It doesn't include some travel expenses, so there might be one to follow,
Okay.
but it'll come out of this because I'm holding it.
Perfect, thank
for
you.
them. Mhm.
Mona, I have a
Yes.
Zoom question.
Yeah.
One, participant Debbie asks, why are some costs budgeted at less than last year? Assume expenses in general go up each year.
What expenses is she referring to?
There were a couple of things like the end of year luncheon was scheduled or slated for 1,500 as opposed to 1,700. Just a few things in the line items I saw too.
Right.
But I'm assuming you guys are just kind of.
Well, I think
Okay.
last year with the end of year luncheon, I think they ended up having more people than they thought. I think more people than were budgeted. So I think that was kind of an off, that's a little bit off from what we normally have. So we thought we would kind of leave it right there.
And the other one is the directory.
Yeah.
So we didn't explain the difference this
Yeah.
year.
The directory, we are not paying necessarily, I actually think the directory cost is a little high. Because now, the directories, I guess when people are signing up for membership, they will be paying for their directories. So, I left that there almost like a little bit as a cushion. Because we're not printing a free directory with, every PTO purchase, there won't be as much printing costs at that point, so.
How did the classes make them? Why the huge disparity between what I would understand the freshman class, but between the sophomore, juniors and seniors?
This is, are you reading?
The class fundraising.
Oh, okay, so well, the class of 24 would obviously had an extra year of raising their funds. So that's one thing. Some of the things they do are like the midterms and the signs are a big part of what goes into. The signs really do, and then, they had like the midterm fundraiser, the final fundraiser. The reason that class of 25 they're going into it is because what they did was they have a cash, as of 7/31, they had a cash outlay. Like you have to sometimes buy the product before you sell it.
Okay.
So that's why it's a little skewed. They bought, I think some stadium seats but they're planning on selling it in the upcoming year, so they'll bring back that money. So,
it does end up around the same, whatever 24 has, that's generally what each class has.
24 is a little high, they don't, you guys raised a lot of money. I don't know if it's usually.
And could I just say the individual class fundraising is not a requirement. Each group of parent reps is not by any means required to fundraise specifically for their grade. Most grade rep groups do choose to do their best to add additional funds and raise those funds to cover costs of any senior specials in your last year and to offset the cost of PGE, which the cost of PGE, which for those of you who are new and don't know, I'll go over it very quickly again. It's the post-graduation events. It's the event that is thrown at many schools throughout Connecticut. For the graduates, it's a safe experience for seniors to keep them from going out and having a dangerous time elsewhere. It's an overnight excursion. Buses are hired and there's a series of mystery stops that don't get revealed. It's a surprise for the seniors of safe, fun activities throughout the night after graduation. The cost of operating these events has gone up a lot. Budget for buses is through the roof. So again, it's not a requirement that grade reps do individual fundraisers for their reps, but some do. So that's maybe why you see discrepancies over the years in the past and this year and in the future. It just depends on each individual group and what fundraising initiatives they choose to move forward with. So that's part of the discrepancies you'll see, and oftentimes people don't plan anything in their freshman year. Some do, some don't, but it helps everybody get their feet wet, to not have to focus heavily on fundraising. But they're more than welcome to.
Ask you a question, the
Yes.
PGE, does each family pay, do the kids pay for that? Does the PTO pay, is it a combo pay, how does that work?
Yeah, so it's officially, a ticketed event. Ticket sales are meant to pay for the event. Period. Anything extra that's raised by the PTO parent rep groups is used to offset those costs and bring that vinyl ticket price down.
And that's
So-
why you start now, like the freshman, it
Yeah.
behooves the freshman class to get fundraising going, and that can be packed away and used throughout the years, and of course,
You can use-
saved for senior year.
Yeah, you can use some for your initiatives, if you're doing any senior specials, but we also have. Incorporated. The spirit funds, so there's a philanthropy line for each. 4 parent rep groups and sped. To use for initiatives that promote spirit for group, so. Hopefully that will be sufficient to do a few things without having to. Dive into your funds that you're saving for senior year.
And so whatever fundraising efforts is sort of like, it's the icing on the cake, like that you can take and carry with you. So if if the
Yes.
freshman class does fundraising this year,
Yes,
and just for the sake of an easy number, $5,000
Yep.
raised for the year.
Mhm.
That 5,000 can go with the class of 2027 up till their graduation.
absolutely.
Perfect.
And you may have heard earlier, we were very kindly gifted of 700 something extra dollars from the class of 2023 to the class of 2024, so. I think that's a really nice tradition, so 2024 has any leftover, we'll pass it on to 2025.
And last question
Yes,
pertaining to the classes, sorry.
Yeah.
Does the senior class give a gift to the school each year?
A lot of times they do, but they don't have to.
Okay, just thinking about it in terms of fundraising and money.
They buy like a bench or a
Right.
flower pot or something like that. They've done that in the past, but they don't do it every year.
and some of that
And
comes from the
From
student
the,
government.
from the student government account.
MSJ does it.
Yeah, so when they have a surplus at the end, they want, and there's been talk this year about, doing something with the lounge area over by the cafeteria. The students would like to freshen that up.
Where do the class dues go? Is that SGA? Is that, yeah, that's SGA.
I believe
class
it's
dues?
SGA.
That we pay on school books or whatever. My school books. Yeah, not. Okay, I just didn't know where it's dealt with. That one.
We might need to explain what the acronyms are for people who are new.
SGA is
Yeah,
student government.
exactly.
I have a question. So I was the 7th and 8th grade chair and now I'm the 9th grade chair. And I know that I think there was like $3,000 that had carried over from the 7th grade social to 8th grade. And I know that there's money there. So we're definitely not starting with $0. How do I get that money transferred from the middle school to our account here?
I'm gonna say I need to connect with your PTO president from the middle school, and. Review the process.
Okay.
I would imagine their treasurer would cut a check to our PTO and we would deposit it.
Okay. Do you want to reach out to them or should I reach out to them?
If you could reach out
Okay.
and copy me on the email, just, that would be great to get the ball rolling to
Okay.
get your pot filled.
No problem.
Okay. All right, so I think
Any-
Mona.
Any more
other
questions on the
questions?
budget? No, it's not really-
They just run through.
Yep, yeah, yeah, it's good, just make sure it's, does it seem okay to everybody? Okay, all right, with that, can I get a motion to approve the budgets for 2024? Thank you very much, I'm sorry, your first name?
Susan.
Susan, yes. Can I get a second, please, JC? Thank you. Anybody opposed? All in favor? Okay, so motion passes. Thank you.
We're wrapped up.
Oh,
Thank you, Mona.
Yeah, thank you.
If there's anybody left at home who sees the poll up on your Zoom, if you wouldn't mind voting, that would be great. You should have an option to vote on the budget. Megan Barnes, our VP, is monitoring the online votes. Okay, we'll give it another moment and then we'll end the poll. We have enough to pass. Everything, and the majority of folks at home have responded one way or the other. We're gonna close out the poll on one. We're very lucky to be joined by our principal, Megan Canetta. She's joined us, having done her morning walk around, and she has a great presentation prepared and some slides, which Megan's getting up on Zoom for us right now. So I'm going to.
Is it better if I stand?
What do you prefer?
So I can see everybody.
Would you like to come here and I can move to the side?
I'm afraid to stand it. I don't know. We're good here.
I'm with the camera.
Hi, John. Sorry that I have you here for so long.
Sorry.
It's been an adventure.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'll move the camera.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. there you go. Sorry, I'm
Good. Did you stand back home?
not.
There we go.
There.
They always say you should take the picture from holding it up, not
Yes.
dancing. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 23-24 school year. We're really excited to be back at school. I wanted to start, you go to the next slide, with just some thanks. Maybe if we drag that on top. Right up there. Sometimes if you drag it up, it'll spread across. Or not. Okay. Let's move it around. Okay. So I just wanted to recognize all of the work that the PTO supported last year. We had a discussion this summer. The new room was a project that the PTO supported, we think 7 or 8 years ago, maybe more. It's one of the rooms in the library. What we've done this year is use the same furniture in that room, but we've actually converted that to our quiet study. Quiet study is a scheduled study hall for our 9th graders who are unscheduled that period. It would typically take place in the cafeteria. And really looking at that, we wanted to welcome our 9th graders into the library, and then they can get used to the resources in the library. We have a new library media specialist this year, Kara Sweezy, who has been a social studies teacher here for a couple of decades now. So she has really great relationships with kids, and we're looking forward to her welcoming the 9th graders. And then they also have access to the writing center, the math lab, the testing center, for all of the supports that the library has to offer. So I just wanted to make sure I shared that with you. All the furniture that was donated is still in that new room. We just kind of are repurposing that room. So it's not as quiet. We also saw that students were not using it in an optimal way historically, so we really wanted to give it a little academic refresh. If you get what I'm saying. We're sometimes playing a game of lights on and lights off. So better this way. You contributed to the principal's discretionary fund, so that really helps with little things that we want to do to kind of support the school and all the things going on throughout the year. You contributed to yoga mats in Mr. Durant's classroom and bolsters for our students with special needs. You purchased a smart TV cart and sound bar, which has really been great for our PE and health, and we've actually used it in the library at times for presentations. So we're actually taking that idea, and we're hopefully going to have something like that for the library as well this year. We put the vinyl graphics on the front entrance for School Spirit, as you said, and the middle school is getting those done too. So it's going to be a pretty cool look on School Road. The community cup you supported, I did too, through my discretionary fund, and you did as well. The community cup, which is our community program that runs their own coffee shop. Usually it's Tuesdays and Thursdays, they sell coffee to staff out of their coffee bar over in the Galleria. I don't know, did they do the coffee today?
No,
They're going.
But they are going to, right, be the coffee provider at our PTO meetings going forward, which is really exciting. And an ad in the company program, the Challenge Success workshops, I wanted to mention that. Challenge Success is an organization out of Stanford University, and they're doing a lot of work on student well-being and wellness and mental health in schools, given the high pressure in many affluent, high-pressure communities where the kids really want to do well. They feel that pressure to get into those good schools, to get those good grades, to take those AP classes. And we know that there is certainly an epidemic happening among our youth.
in terms of their mental health and well-being. So Challenge Success has done a lot of research. Denise Pope is one of the creators of the founders of the program. And we were really excited to have them come and do a 3-hour workshop with our teachers on that Friday before school started. And then they're also coming back to do a workshop for parents, which we're getting that date on the calendar. They're also going to come back as we do our junior college kickoff to do a presentation and support the conversation of college fit versus college ranking for our families and students. So we're really working on helping our kids here at Weston High School to have an overall sense of their own well-being as they're also striving to be academically accomplished, and help them find that balance. The lobby furniture, we also ordered lobby furniture. I promise you it is on order. We tried to get that in as early as we could in July. And this is the season for furniture orders for schools. So we got caught up in that, but we don't have a date yet, but it is coming. And with your support, we're really going to create more collaborative workspace in our lobby. It is such a vast space, and the kids in the morning hang out there. I also think that there could be opportunities for collaborative workspaces throughout the day, and a place for teachers to even commune and even to provide maybe extra help during free periods. And so we're going to put tables in the windows and some chairs, some club chairs for some nice reading nooks, hopefully, potentially. So thank you for all of the work that you did. And I know that Liv and I are going to meet too and to talk about philanthropy going forward this year. So thank you for all of that. Go next slide. Oh, we're there. Okay. Officer John Marsili's here this year. I know Officer McGowan came and presented last year. John is joining us this year as our school resource officer. So we're very excited to have him. And we're really excited for John to join our team. You do not have to stay for them because I know you've been here, but I'll leave it up to you. You don't have to stay for the entirety of the meeting. I just want to name. And then we also have a new assistant director for pupil services, Mr. Ben Newman, who is housed here solely at the high school with us, which is new this year. And we're very excited to have that support and assistance for our pupil services area. Yep.
Does Mr. Newman work solely for the population at Weston High School?
Yes, he is. He is based here. He works with the high school population. He will work with the 8th to 9th grade transitions to welcome our students with plans and other needs coming up to the high school. But he is here to support special education, students with 504 plans, our entire counseling department to help us look at programs. He meets with us as our building administrative team. So he is a part of that team here at the high school, which we're very excited. And that's a restructure heading into this year. So we're really excited for that support. Okay, we go to the next slide. This is a slide that I started with the teachers, just in evaluating it. Last year was my first year as principal here, for those of you that don't know. So it's now my second year, get a little bit more comfortable every day. We really wanted to focus on the 3 C's. And I do a lot of reading over the summer and reflecting on school years. And I really felt like we kind of needed to all come around 3 just basic ideas around schools and families, and our own well-being as well as staff members, as students, as families. We know that once that school year kicks off, it's like, it is go time. I've noticed it in my own house, right? It's like without sometimes those routines and those dinner conversations, things can get a little hairy. So we wanted to norm kind of and really focus on commitment, communication, and courtesy. And so that idea of commitment from our teachers is really like that idea of being curious and committing to that. And then our students in the classroom are sitting in classrooms and being curious and asking good questions. We're teaching students how to ask those great questions. And also this idea of accepting change. When I met with our staff, I was so lucky on my daughter's 3rd time watching Barbie. She finally invited me to go. 3rd time's the charm. And I remember sitting there with her, and there's a point in Barbie where America Ferrera says Barbie's having a crisis, right? It's like, and America Ferrera is just like, life has changed, right? And I think that that's the world that we're in, that life has changed. Things are always evolving. AI certainly is an interesting topic in education right now. So we just have to be really flexible. We have to be curious. We have to look at how these new ideas can really help us and continue to explore those things and also work on our relationships and having those best intentions. In terms of communication, every teacher has been required to provide a syllabus for their course this year. And that syllabus needs to be posted on Canvas. So that should really, as a parent, be your first go-to. If you have questions about what's going on in a course, that syllabus should be the first document that you turn to. And if you don't get your answers there, I would have a conversation with your student that's in the class. And if you're not getting that answer there, you can send that teacher an email. Our goal is that teachers will respond to your email in 48 hours. I would love to say 24, but when you look at a 10 a.m. email and that one overnight to get, it's just, I think it's really tough. Emails are really easy to send, and they're harder to respond as teachers are doing all the other workings of the school day. And if by chance you don't get a response in 48 hours, again, focusing on that idea of courtesy, send that teacher an email, say, just not sure if you missed this, right? And really kind of assuming good intentions, because the years get really busy and the life of a teacher is a harried one. You know, I remember being out with friends and they were like, oh, I've been working on this presentation for the last 3 months and I have to give this presentation on Friday. And I remember saying to them, imagine if you had 2 hours to work on that presentation that you had to give 5 times or 3 times the next day. And imagine if you had 2 of them, right? And that really is the life of a teacher. And then it's like doing those lessons plans, creating those papers and everything. So I think having that courtesy, and assuming good intentions that teachers want to respond to you, they want to communicate with you, their days are long and they also need to take care of themselves and their families. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to roll back too much, but just, I know you touched on your email last week about Canvas, because we probably have so many new families. Could you just give a quick snapshot of what it actually is and
Yes.
what value it brings to the parent experience supporting their.
So Canvas is our learning management system. And I would compare it to, if you've been in classes, in schools, maybe to like a Blackboard. Some schools use Schoology, some schools use Google Classroom. I think at the middle school, they were using Google Classroom.
Yeah.
So Canvas really replaces Google Classroom at the high school. So it's your go-to for what is going on in the classroom. Some teachers use it in a super dynamic way where you can go there and it's one-stop shopping for everything you need. Some teachers use it just to provide information and their assignments might be on there. It just depends on the usage. We really want the syllabus up on there. We want the teachers' kind of office hours or extra help hours on there. And we want their contact information as a bare minimum. And then posting also major assignments. So if there's a major project coming up or a major essay that the students have been working on, our expectation is that at the very minimum, those things are on Canvas. Okay, so it's called a learning management system, and Canvas is the one we use. So again, our goal is to partner with you as families. We really want teachers reaching out if there's an area of concern. And same with you. We want you reaching out if you're concerned. And if you're concerned more globally, you can also reach out to your child's counselor if there's something that you want your child's team to be aware of. That communication is just really instrumental to us supporting the students in this building. And as I said, courtesy is that last C that we're focused on, assuming good intentions. You know, also knowing that every kid has a story, every family has a story, and kids want to do well. So when they walk in this building, and I promise you this is true, there is no child that walks into a school building and says, I'm really gonna mess with them today. They don't do that. They come with the best of intentions. It's just something may have gone on. They got to bed too late because they're stressed out. They have tests coming up. And so, you know, we're all affected by those things and it can affect our mood. So really just recognizing that kids want to do well, and that communication with you and that partnership with you is just really, really important so that we can ensure that we're helping and not harming. Okay, so those are our areas. I put that in my letter last night too as well, so you can see that in the slides.
Megan, 2
Yes.
seconds on the communication, on the website, on the Weston, the whole, what's the website?
Yeah.
There is a communication protocol,
Mhm.
so you might want to point that out or talk to that as well.
Yeah,
I linked that in my letter too. We have a communication protocol. There's one for the district and then there's one for each building. So on our Weston High School website is that communication protocol. And so what I've sometimes had to say to families when they've contacted me, have you talked to the teacher? It is really important if there are concerns that you speak to the teacher. Really, the vast majority of concerns can be resolved with a phone call, often a phone call. Sometimes the email back and forth can be more harmful than helpful. And sometimes just picking up the phone can be a better solution. But often I will have to send families back and say, talk to the teacher, start there. And then there's kind of a chain that you would follow. If it doesn't get resolved at the teacher level, you would, if it's curriculum based, you would work with the curriculum instructional leader. There's also an opportunity to talk to your child's counselor, but really following that, because I don't know what's going on in that classroom, right? Certainly I can go and talk to the teacher and try to find out, but I don't think that the game of operator sometimes in those conversations is effective.
Plus
So
Megan
thank
is,
you, Tim.
Megan is one, and the whole communication cycle, it's a beautiful little tree that's
It is
up on the
beautiful.
website.
Thank you.
That shows, if you don't get it resolved here, go here, and it can be going to the counselor, or going to the assistant principal that your child is assigned to based upon the spelling of your last name, et cetera. So Megan is overseeing the entire building. She can't oversee every single situation, especially a lot of them that can get resolved much lower down. So I would highly encourage everyone to follow that tree that we spend a lot of time building.
So in that tree, it'll say for ninth graders, this is your counselor. This is,
The tree even does one better. It says, if you have a transportation issue, here's the number to the bus garage. If you have a concern about your child's individual education plan, start with the case manager. If it's not resolved, you would go to Mr. Newman, right there, who's dedicated to the high school. If that's not resolved, to the assistant principal, and then to me, right? Because if it's not being resolved, then there's something bigger going on, maybe programmatically, that I really need to know about so we can help support everyone involved in the situation.
okay.
But it's topically organized, which I think is really helpful too. Okay, all right, NEASC. So NEASC is the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. New England Association of Schools and Colleges comes around every 10 years that we get accredited, or we apply for accreditation, and then they come in and do evaluations throughout that 10-year sequence. So this past April, we had a collaborative conference visit, and they came for 2 whole days, and we did a lot of prep. We did a self-reflection report. We had a team of building leaders and teachers work on different areas of the 5 standards of NEASC. And we submitted our self-reflection and said, here's what we've been working on. Here's where we really want to focus. And they come in, they have conversations with us, they have conversations with families, with parents, with students. And so we had these focus groups over 2 days. At the end of those 2 days, they sit and they begin writing their report. They give us their recommendations for our priority goal areas. And then they're coming back in the spring of 2025 to assess our growth and our progress in those named priority goal areas. The good news for us is we named what we felt like our priority goal areas should be, and we would like them to be. And the good news was that NEASC agreed with us. So it's always nice when that happens. So moving forward over the next few years, one of our top priorities is to align the written curriculum with the top curriculum. And what that means is when we have documents that articulate our curriculum, we want to ensure that those documents truly reflect what's going on in the classroom. So we have traditionally had a 5-year curriculum review cycle, and between NEASC and we also had the Tri-State Consortium come last spring to do a math visit. And that math visit, I want to say was 4 through 9. I feel like I never get the young, because I'm not in the younger grades. I can't remember exactly the year that they started, but Tri-State is a consortium of schools in the Tri-State area, and they came and gave us some feedback there. And both really agreed that we want to make sure that our curriculum that is written is aligned to what's going on in the classroom. And given what goes on in contemporary society, that curriculum is also fluid and can be adjusted sooner than every 5 years, just because we know the pace of information in 2023. So we are continuing to work on that. We are partnering with Dr. Henkel, our Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, to make sure that our curriculum documents are written, clearly articulated, and also for us at the high school, incorporate the portrait of the graduate competencies. So when you look at those curriculum documents, eventually you'll be able to say, the summative assessment for this unit is an essay, let's say. That essay really aligns to the competency and the portrait of the graduate of critical thinker. So then when students are putting together their portrait of the graduate portfolio at the end of the 4 years, they can look back and say, oh, right, I did that essay. And they kind of have that system and organization already going. Our second priority goal area is to create a formal defined multi-tiered system of support process. It's referred to as MTSS. If you're familiar with the acronym of RTI or SRBI, those are all about the tiers of interventions, and it's currently called MTSS. So those other acronyms are now in the past, and I think I've been doing this for a long time now. So it's like
What is MTSS?
multi-tiered system of support.
Okay.
And what that means is that when we notice a student might be struggling, what are the interventions that we're putting in place in the classroom? Giving those interventions in the classroom time to work. Then if those aren't working, who else do we get on board that student's team? Who else do we consult with to put additional supports in place? And then how we kind of continue to support that student, whether it's at the classroom level or at a team level or at a referral level to more supports, whether it's through a 504 plan or potentially an individualized education plan. So it's just the school kind of setting up protocols and practices around the best way to support students who may be struggling. And as I said, we have a math lab here, we have a writing center here in the library. Those are part of that intervention system where a classroom teacher can say, I noticed that you need a little bit more support in your writing. So you can come to see me before or after school for extra help. And oh, let's also make an appointment in the writing center and have someone else take a look at your writing. So really kind of formalizing and systemizing that. So families are aware of what's available, kids are aware of what's available, and teachers are aware of what's available. So we have kicked off this year starting that work. And we have some referral forms that we use internally so that teachers have a way to ask for support from whether it's a counselor, the curriculum instructional leader. And we have some internal form regarding our behavior referrals if we're kind of seeing some inattentiveness or maybe some distractible behavior that might be leading to some unrest in the classroom, just so we can formalize and kind of track how we're supporting students. So we're already making progress in that area. And then last but not least is to coordinate capital improvements. And really what they're recommending is to ensure that the high school is really recognizing the capital improvements that we would like to occur here and working with our district folks and the Board of Education to make sure that we are aligned in our needs. And so those were the three named priority goal areas, and NEASC agreed and gave us some feedback, and they will be back in the spring of 2025 to look at our progress. It doesn't mean we have to be done and accomplished without, that's a lot of work. I always say this is like a 3 to 5 year plan, not a 2-year plan, but they just really want to see that we're making progress in those areas. So we're excited about that. NEASC also tells us what we're doing really well, and they make some recommendations as well. So they gave us some commendations for our portrait of the graduate work, the supportive environment that is Weston High School, our positive school climate, learning through high interest experiences, that the students are challenged on contemporary issues, our commitment to embedding portrait of the graduate in the work that we do, and our overall engagement. We had community members that sat on panels to look at the portrait of the graduate work of our seniors last year, and that was new and that went really well. So thank you to Ms. Eisenman and Ms. Gaboni for that work. And the collaborations by teachers for students. So we are really fortunate here at Weston High School. Every department has a planning period that is the same for everyone in that department. So social studies, every social studies teacher is off for the same period. And that in a high school is so rare, so that they can meet together. They can talk about how their 9th graders are doing right across their social studies classes. It could be an opportunity for social studies teachers to get together and talk about 9th graders, and they can compare that to how the English teachers are working or how the 9th graders are doing in their English classes. So that collaboration by teachers for students is really a gift for Weston High School. And then our partnership between school and community is exemplified by our work with the PTO and ADAP and the Weston Education Foundation and other supporting community services. Our broad range of school counseling services. They're really impressed by things like how we do the college kickoff and Camp College. And our Pathways Academy, of course, and the support support services for our students. Yep.
I think we have a lot of, I could be wrong, there are a fair number of freshman parents here who don't understand the portrait of the graduate. Can we touch on that for 2 seconds?
I
Should we go do that later?
Mhm.
I don't know.
So the portrait of the graduate work came out of the state. There was a state statute that said all schools had to have a 1 credit mastery-based assessment. As things go in education, the state has now reversed that. And they have now and said that that is now optional, and they have prioritized mandatory financial literacy classes. And the class, I think it's the class of 2027 is the first that will need to graduate. All students will need to graduate with a 0.5 credit in financial literacy. So the portrait of the graduate is now essentially optional. We are not opting out. I want to be really clear. We have put a lot of time and effort into the portrait of the graduate work, and we think we did an amazing job coordinating it. So this is where over the course of freshmen, we'll learn a little bit about it at the end of the year in our PAC time, which is our advisory time. They are assembling a portfolio where they have to look at the 6 competencies of the portrait of the graduate. I'm not going to be able to name them off the top of my head, but it's like collaboration, critical thinking. Oh, is it right here?
Yeah.
Thinking critically, communicating with purpose, solving problems, expressing creativity, caring for self and caring for others. And so they have to show where they have done this at Weston High School through various examples. One of the examples last year that I saw was the expresses creativity. A student had created a movie to exemplify one of the things that they were working on in their science class, right? So it was like this match of like that total creativity with their science expectations in the classroom. And those things are just really cool that kids can say, this is how I can use my creative talents to share what I know. And so we think that that's the way education should work, right? Like that's a really great practice. And so we're going to continue to maintain that. And that's why we are doubling down on it and aligning it to our curricular practices. So that over the course of really sophomore, junior, senior year, students are compiling that portfolio. And then at the end, where the elementary schools have their conference days in the spring, we actually use those early release and early dismissal and late arrival days to have these panels come in, community, staff, administrators, and the students present and kind of have a conversation about the cool things that they did at Weston High School. And we think it's a really nice wrap to their time at the high school and in their 12 years of all that they've learned. So
Will it still be 1 credit or is the
it will
credit base
still be
going?
1 credit. Yep.
I have to say, as someone who had the honor of being on one of those boards, it was really, I was kind of like, when I went in there, like, is this thing again? And I'm on the board of ed, so I've been hearing about it for a long time, but I just wanted to see what it's all about. And I went in, I was so impressed. It's just a really great reflective writing. And it's not a huge, I mean, these kids have a lot of work. So it's not something that's gonna like bury them. This is, using work that they've been doing all along and bringing it together in this portfolio. And then just a paragraph about their time at Weston and the way that they grew personally and things like that. It was just such a nice way. A lot of times kids graduate from high school like, yeah, okay, I took a calculus class and chemistry and I'm going here. But they don't really take a chance to look back and see how much they've grown and developed as learners and as community members and things like that. And this is just so nice. I was really impressed with the whole process. So don't be afraid of it as parents, like, oh my gosh, it's one more thing my kid has to work do. It's very natural the way it comes about and it's really good.
And sorry, and they have the time to do it in the schools. So it's not like they have it
No, it's not gonna kill them. It's not gonna, it's doesn't.
No, we have 45-minute PAC time advisory at the end of the month, every month now. So advisory meets every Wednesday. And that 45 minutes, for the most part, especially as they get to juniors and seniors, is dedicated to that portrait of the graduate work. And again, like Sharon said, they're taking work that they've done and they're choosing that work and then reflecting on how that reflection is how it's connecting to one of the competencies in the portrait of the graduate.
And the students are aware of this
we introduce it gradually. So I guess the freshmen will not really know much about it, and that is okay. So if they come home tonight and you're like, oh, I heard about this porch of the
Right.
river, and they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. It is appropriate that ninth graders do not know what you're talking about yet. So we roll that out towards the end of the year. We're letting them come and have fun,
Yeah.
be excited. Students, a ninth grader said to me the other day, so I can just leave the cafeteria right now, like during lunch. I'm like, you can't. During lunch, or the library, yeah, I could just go to the library. Yeah. So we're letting them enjoy those moments. Yeah.
The financial literacy that you mentioned,
Mhm.
is that currently implemented or going to be?
We currently have an elective course in math. We have a personal finance class. We have to make a plan for how we are going to provide that opportunity for the class of 2027.
So 2027 will be the first class that has it.
That's what they're saying right now.
Who knows?
That'd be nice if we could get ahead of the curve on that one, because that is something.
The good news is we have a course.
Yeah.
I agree with it. You know,
Yeah.
I've been in schools where they require that. That's part of the graduation requirement, that all students have to take some sort of personal finance or financial literacy course. So I don't disagree. And we need time and a teacher and a course and resources to make that happen. So we will continue working on that. Some of the recommendations that NEAF provided were just to enhance coherence with school and district leadership, increase communication to teachers and families. And that's really why communication is up on that 3 Cs. Like, we really do. This is a partnership. Everything goes really well when we all communicate. Implement and teachers to use feedback from students. So that's something that we're going to focus on this year. Implement a plan for educators to engage in ongoing reflection. We have an open campus. You know, they came, we were walking outside, they were surprised to see dogs off leash walking behind our building, and members of the community just being able to access the campus. Because that is rare in schools today.
Yeah.
So they wanted us to figure out a way to address that. But again, that is a school and community partnership. But you will notice at the front door, we did say no more food deliveries, which I'll get to that in a second. And we do have students coming and going throughout the day. And we really want to make sure that when adults approach the building, we are going to ask you, do you have an appointment? Who are you here to see? And we think that that is responsible. And we are responsible for good safety. And then just to address the physical isolation of students with special needs in the building, our C-Wing really houses a lot of our special education programs. And we really want to make sure that there are opportunities for our students with special needs and individualized plans to be out and bound, which they are. I think that in a lot of newer buildings, there has been a conscious effort to make sure that special education classes and other support classes and services are dispersed throughout buildings when we have new construction. So we're just going to continue to work on that. So when we were thoughtfully planning, we had a couple of classes that we kind of came out into the D-Wing, just so that we can spread that out a little bit. Okay. I talked a little bit, can I close this as Brad passing? Sorry if I'm just speaking quickly, but I know we might get limited for time and there's a lot to cover. Am I okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. PACT is our advisory period, which through our school climate committee last year, we, along with parents and students, and teachers, we renamed PACT. We're all making a pact knitting to positively achieving community together. And that is what we are calling, it's going to take some time. That is really what we are calling our advisory time that meets once a week. Typically, the first 3 Wednesdays of the month will be a 30-minute advisory. The last of the month will be 45 minutes. And that one, for the most part, unless they're freshmen or early sophomores, will be dedicated to that portrait of the graduate work. We really wanted to make sure that, as Sharon said, it was not burdensome to students, because anything that's burdensome, well, the teenagers will automatically start in the negative, and we don't want that to happen. And we also do a lot of connection activities through PACT, just games, fun, relationships, food. How do we connect with each other so that the intention of that, we're also reducing the size of the PACT classes. Like, our 9th graders really should have somewhere between 8 and 10 students in them rather than larger. Once you get to like 15, 16, 17, then it's a class. You're losing that opportunity to make those more personal connections and build relationships. We looked at our school climate data, and we really want all students to be able to identify an adult in the building that they would turn to if they were in need. And so that really is the intention of that pack time. Okay, for the next one. Technology. So we reinforced with our ninth graders, especially email. It's really important that you are checking that daily. That is one of our major communication tools. We also use ClassLink. Students should be going to ClassLink, make sure that they're in there, make sure that they know it's available to them. That's how they can access some of the apps in their email and all that. I talked a little bit about Canvas, and new this year, students historically would, students would
Jane's here, in her brief break since in last year.
Oh, yeah, you want to pause and you could do your, yeah.
Do you
Let me
wanna-
just, can I finish the thought about printing and then we can start the next slide?
Just wanna-
So historically, students would have to come into the library and they would have to say to Miss Nice, can you please, I'll share this with you, can you please print it for me? And I know that there is technology that students should be able to print remotely to printers. So we started with one, so we have a print to email, so students send an attachment to this email and they should be able to print, and I've tried it, I can do it, and if I could do it, they could do it, to the printer in the library. So we're gonna look at increasing the number of printers that can support that service for them too, which is nice. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Jaya and I'm the PTO liaison for student government. I did this role last year, so I'm doing it again this year. Just some notes on student government. We haven't had our first Congress or Senate meeting yet, but we just did Trojan kickoff, which was really successful. And right now, junior student government is working on powder puff jerseys and getting those made and also distributed. And then also we're all kind of starting to look at things for homecoming, just setting that up. But yeah, I definitely have more to update after our first Congress or Senate meeting, but I'm here if you guys have like any questions about anything else too.
I have a maybe stupid question, but I know you guys communicate a lot through the Facebook, I have a student who doesn't have Facebook. Is there any other way he can have information about the SGA activities?
Yeah, so we've actually been trying to branch a little bit away from Facebook because we know like a lot of students have Facebook, but not all of them use Facebook. So I believe each grade group has an open Instagram account, and also we've been trying to make like a Snapchat story too. So if your son or daughter has like one of those social medias, they might be able to get access to that information there.
They have to be on social media.
Exactly. There's no way to stay away that.
Do you have anyone in the SPED group? Do you talk to any of those guys, or they represent? Is there anyone like a liaison with those guys?
Not that I know of.
Maybe that's something you should consider.
Yeah, I'll definitely bring that up.
Thanks.
Just want to say thank you to Jaya for coming. I know, is it take 10 right now?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for taking your 10 with us at the PTO General Board meeting. We always invite our student government liaisons to join our meetings and provide updates. So we're really happy that you were able to come see us today for our first meeting of the 2023-24 school year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jaya. Okay, cell phones. So we know, as adults, I think they're just as distracting for us, how distracting cell phones can be. And we did some work with our staff in the spring, to really evaluate the needs of the school and what they need in their classrooms. And one of the biggest concerns, and what I observed too, was the distraction of cell phones without any clear practice or protocol for the school. We had some teachers who would require students to put them in the pockets. Every has what they call calculator pockets on the wall. Some teachers would do that and say, this is what my practice is in the classroom, and others wouldn't. I was in a number of classes where kids would go to the bathroom and they'd be texting on their way out the door. So what I said to them when we had class meetings, it's just discourteous, right? Like the teacher has planned the lesson, they're up in front of the room and we're walking by texting. This doesn't feel great. So I met with, we all did, school administrators, I got all the slides with the bad news. We joked about that. I'm the rule maker apparently. So, when we spoke to the students, we really focused on that idea of courtesy and the time that you're committing to instruction and learning in your day. And so what we're really asking is for students to commit 56 minutes at a time to the instruction that is going on in the classroom. And in order to do that, cell phones and other devices, right, smartwatches too, need to be away. What I just said in my letter to families, if there is an emergency and you need to contact the school, we also believe that the best thing to do would be to contact the school, the main number. Let us get the appropriate people involved to support you and your family, because we don't want students dealing with those emergencies on their own independently and getting that news in the middle of a class either. We want to provide them with the social emotional support and privacy so that we can help them manage through those ups and downs of life as well. So students, it's kind of amazing. Like, I feel like I need to knock on wood somewhere. To go into classrooms this year and to see phones are either in the pockets in the rooms or they are away. And it is really a beautiful thing. So what we've said is if the teacher does not have a rule that your phone needs to be in the pocket, at the very least, it needs to be in your backpack, not in your pocket, in your backpack and away. And I said universally to all of them, this is your one warning. We are going to operate in a courteous way, focused on our learning in our classrooms. And we've had some phones delivered. I don't think it's gonna take that long, because what I said to teachers, you have to do this, right? If that phone is out, you have to take it, because when we don't take it, the rules don't matter. So I really do feel like we are a collective and unified on this, and it is really lovely to see, and kids are really,
That's a great thing.
really nice, right?
Yeah.
They are
Thank
really,
you for
really
doing
nice
that.
about it. So thank you for your really awesome, really nice kids as we are adjusting to this.
I have a question, is this, doesn't mirror the middle school policy? So the kids transitioning in from freshmen, they're freshmen.
I think they have to keep their phones in their lockers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
like they can have the
And
So-
there are no smartwatches.
right.
No.
So now at least they can have it out at take 10, they can have it out at lunch, like, we're letting them use it appropriately, but classrooms are for learning. And when your phone is there and that ding, or even that screen lights up, it doesn't even have to make a noise. Like, they cannot help it. They are addicted, no doubt. And I am too. Like, my kids will yell at me because mine goes off for work and I'm at home and they say, Mom, you weren't even listening to me. I'm like, you're right, I was listening. All right, food deliveries is the next one. I already spoke to this, but no more Uber Eats. Yep. new slide. We really have to prioritize campus safety. I've said to the clubs, because a couple came up to me after the class meeting and said, company is here till all hours, like, we need to have food delivered. I said, no, different story, right? If it's a club meeting after school, we're really trying to control the flow in and out of the building during the school day. And we really want to make sure that we are creating a safe environment. We told the students, food will be confiscated. So again, we've given them fair warning. Don't get food delivered, we're taking it.
So this is for students ordering Uber Eats?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shake Shack, Starbucks,
That's
Dunkin'.
crazy.
I did joke with them, a couple of them. I was like, if you're ordering from Shake Shack, I would love a shot.
But how do they ensure the food comes on time and there's no class when the food arrives? I mean, they just
Figured it
order
out,
it
you know,
and.
practice.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
All right. All right, next slide is about driving and off-campus privileges. We really can't, I just wanna say this, and I've said it a couple times, we really cannot have morning drop-offs and pickups in that senior lot across from the school. The first couple of days I was out there, Officer Marsili was out there with me, it creates too much chaos. We have new drivers who think that they can skillfully pull up and then do a 3-point turn to back into a space. And I'm watching it, and then I see this car come in here, and this one's coming this way. It's also a narrow passageway to get into that lot. It's just too much. So I would really ask families to be courteous and understand that there is a reason, right, that we have a queue. And we also provide, free public transportation in the form of school buses to get everybody to school.
Megan, I have a quick question on that,
Yep.
because I was a little confused by your email, to be honest with you. It sounded as if one of, or probably the primary option for dropping your child off, if you choose not to take those big yellow limousines that we send around. Is, if you're coming in from School Road, or either, whichever, if you're coming in from Weston Road, if you basically go through WIS.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah. That's what you've been told.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because I've never, either, not, this is not my first rodeo.
drop off.
My first
That's the
kid.
drop off.
Yeah.
That
So-
has always been drop off. I think we've gotten away from it.
Yeah,
'Cause I had to
there
ask
is a School Road.
I had some clarifying questions, 'cause I just kind of observed last year, I was like, okay, if we're queuing up on School Road, the buses also can't get by, we're really seeing it as a hindrance after school.
Yeah.
Where parents are asking their kids to like skirt out of school and like over by the soccer field, and the buses have not been able to get through. So that access road is open for that reason, so
Is
that
it
parents
open
can
for
go that
pickup
way.
after school as well, though, or is that closed off for kids? Because traffic with the kids walking to and from sports activities and things like that. is closed off.
I believe it's open.
Yeah, it's
It's open.
That,
Alright.
that is the pickup and drop off lane.
Good.
Yeah,
That's good to know.
What is the recommendation if you have a middle schooler and a high schooler? Like, I know that in the morning, they don't want you to make a left turn to go to the high school, so you have to go all the way around, but then. If one is late, then I have to go to the middle school first, then what, I have to go all the way, is that written somewhere? Like what they want us to do?
Wait,
No,
can
but
I
pick up-
answer, that's exactly the same problem.
Yeah.
You can't make a right in front of the high school from the pathway between West and the high school because of all the traffic. I've been coming School Road, I pull in the little fire indentation in front of the high school, the ninth grader gets out, and then I keep going to the middle school because the guard at the middle school said he cannot let us make a left
Yeah.
in the morning.
Correct.
So now I have the frenzy of.
You
both
can't make a
roads.
left where?
Out of.
You can't do middle school drop off first, because you can't go left after you drop off middle school.
If there's a spot in the indent on School Road, that's fine.
That's where that's where I always.
Yeah.
But
But the problem is, in waiting for those spots to open up, it can get backed up,
Right, yeah.
right? So the intention of that access road is the drop off lane that you can kind of pull through, because you can take a right out of the access lane, right?
But you
And they
can't because of the traffic, like, if there's a bus there, you can't see, and then the cars are coming this way and the cars, and I get it all, I mean, it's really a crazy situation.
It is, it's a lot, there's a lot
Now,
going
the
on,
middle school, they meet there at 7:40,
yes.
so that's like another problem,
Right.
which is all of our problems to deal with, but no, we understand what you're saying, but it is also an insane asylum.
Right, which is why the school buses.
we spend a lot of money on
Get
buses.
them outside an hour earlier to get on the school bus.
I know, I have two, I have a 13 and 15-year-old that I'm raising, one of them had to figure out her own ride, because she didn't wanna walk up the hill to school, and the other one back on the bus on time, right? Yep, it's early, it's early, I know.
Are you gonna put like someone outside or put a sign or something? Because I've seen some horrific discourteous behavior.
We have a lot of traffic safety folks out there, I'm usually out there in the morning, Matt and Julie are out there with me, Officer Marcelli's gonna be out there, I mean,
I'm talking about after school for pickup, like after sports or clubs or something, because like I've seen someone stop and wait for 5 minutes at the crossing and like they don't hear. I took a picture last year and I was gonna send it to you, how crazy it was.
Okay, I will continue to address it, if anyone's gonna still read them.
Not to
Yeah.
stay on this, but just so that I understand it, if I'm coming from 53 of Weston Road,
Mhm.
I can go either way, but Weston Road, and I come on School Road, so I see Hurlbut. And I get to that stop sign where the administrative buildings are.
Yes.
Do I keep going straight or do I go west?
Right, and go through
Right.
this,
Right.
past the bleachers on the.
We're right now, I've been doing it that, I'm gonna make all along too.
Right after you pass the administrative offices, right? You come past the administrative offices, they're on your left, you take your next right.
And then
into
you're
the
facing
intermediate
west
school.
and you keep
Pull in
going,
and
that's
that's
the way you're supposed to do it.
Drive over by the football
Takes over by the
stadium.
Got it. And if we all did that, then you wouldn't be faced with the traffic
Yeah.
coming in this way, because the kids that are coming in are pulling into, for the most part, the senior lot, right? Okay, so if we use the system, it would work. Okay.
Maybe we should put a sign up there. in the
We have
morning.
some signage coming, I can add more signage.
Well, you're. Whatever.
there.
I know.
We're just asking folks to follow the speed limit. Also off-campus privileges, we are requiring all students as of Wednesday, we're hoping will have their student IDs. We are requiring all students to swipe their student ID coming and going if they're leaving outside of the hours of 7:45 and 2:30.
So ninth grade on,
They all have, ninth graders have them. 10th graders and 11th graders are for sure getting them on Wednesday. We thought we had given them to them last year. We're pretty sure we did, but I don't know where they all went, and some of them have, I don't know. It's a mystery. It's one of those unsolved mysteries. 9th through 12th graders will all have student IDs. They do come in handy. I've said to kids, my own kids have wallets. They keep them in their wallet. We show up at a store. My daughter realizes what she can get discounts for using her student ID. So that is.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
I didn't think of that, yeah.
Discounts. And if they lose their ID, we charge $5 for a new one. Because it is a process, we do use resources to do that. Okay, quick building update, just so everyone's aware. I talked about quiet study a little bit with and testing center in the library. I reviewed lunch bells with kids. We are kind of ushering them out of lunch because the bell that rings during lunch is the one that tells them that they need to be in class. We're really working on being on time to class. What they also heard from me, this is like every principal's life goals. I was booed in the 11th and 12th grade class meeting. Everyone thought it was amazing. But one of the things that got me booed was I said, really only one person in a bathroom stall, folks. So
I think that blue is enough.
So it was interesting. Food deliveries got me booed and bathrooms got me booed. What are you gonna do? But what I said, what came out in our school climate survey, and the students told me last year it's gotten better, but I don't think we're there yet, is that there is vaping occurring in our bathrooms. So I've asked staff to be in and out of bathrooms because proximity is key often to these battles. And what I inform students is we have a cultural vaping problem that we are trying to resolve. And because we are trying to solve this cultural issue, this school climate issue, it is within my rights. I have reasonable cause then, if there are 2 of you in a stall, to search your belongings. And all grades heard that from me last week.
Good.
So we will be in and out of bathrooms, knocking on stalls. And yes, I can see that there are 3 backpacks in a stall. So I just want parents to be aware of that rule because we are trying to clamp down on that.
Oh, excuse me, one question. Are they allowed to bring snacks
Into the bathroom?
No, into school.
Oh,
Snacks, I mean, for during the day. No,
bacteria lesson, do you know how?
seriously, inside the back.
Yeah, so.
So they're allowed to snack in case they're hungry after lunch.
Megan, have we, some school systems have had success eliminating the vaping issue by having security cameras outside of every bathroom. And so when there's a vaping issue that's reported, they can see who's gone in and out of bathrooms. Have we
That'd be
thought about
great.
that?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Cameras are expensive. And that's a budgetary issue. We have some bathrooms that have cameras outside of them. And we have some that don't. We've talked about repositioning existing cameras. And so we are working with our facilities folks to have a clear plan for that. My one focus for the camera, because I know the students want to do something with the lounge, and right now I have one camera that I can add. I'm putting it in the lounge because I want to make that like a fun space, even a space maybe teachers can sign out and like maybe put some flat screen TVs in there and like fun things. The lounge. Over by the senior lounge, yeah, which we're talking about whether it's a senior lounge with off campus. We don't have many seniors that hang out in the lounge, so do we just create a lounge for students? But I'm not putting anything in there unless I have a camera in there, so that's what I prioritize. And we do have a lot of cameras outside of our bathrooms.
Okay.
And again, I think proximity, and I think that these rules around one kid in a stall, I think that those will start to remedy some of those situations.
Just one kid with a camera, typically.
What's that?
Yeah, so if you get, because the research that I've done with different school systems, one kid gets busted with camera and it sends the word out, and they're like, oh.
What is the penalty if you get caught?
Suspension typically, yeah.
I have a question. And I don't know, maybe I should
In
already know
school, in
this.
school suspension, I need to clarify that.
What are they vaping? Is it like always like pot or is it,
No, it's often not,
okay,
it's often not, it's.
it's
Yeah.
tobacco or,
Yeah.
okay. And is it always, is it flavored? Like, can you always smell it?
No, like back in
Okay.
the day, so I remember when I first had my first dean position back in 2013. You could smell it,
Yeah.
so you could walk by,
Yeah,
you
you could
smell
just-
strawberry,
now you
and you
can't.
could go in and like,
Yeah.
done, great, let's go. Now it's odorless and really it dissipates so quickly, so it's really hard, so without these rules, right? Kind of that the reasonableness of these, I don't think there's any reason why you need more than one person in a bathroom stall. And so when you remove the community, right? Feel, right, it starts to not be as much fun.
But they could even smoke if they're one person inside the bathroom.
Of course they could.
And then you
Yeah.
would never know, right?
So what's the age where they can get their own, whatever you call that piece?
18, but kids order stuff from Amazon all the time. Everything is so easily and readily accessible to kids. It really is. So, it's just. We all just have to be aware. You have to be aware of what's in your kids' backpacks. Some districts have done the in plain sight activity. I don't know if we've ever done that here, where they set up like a mock kid's bedroom and they show you all the ways that kids can hide stuff.
Oh.
And listen, kids are, for the most part, are not deceitful, right? They're good kids, that have picked up some bad habits. So, and we want to work with them to remedy that. I think an important one, if we go to the next one, attendance, for us to be aware of. We did take feedback last year. What I've heard a lot last year is your attendance policy basically forces us to lie. Right? Because, if I say that my child is not ill, but that I have an appointment, then they can participate in after-school activities. So we want this to be a partnership. And we also understand that kids have tough mornings sometimes, now more than ever. And we also know that there's a healthy piece and it's good for kids' well-being to say, I had a tough morning, but boy, am I looking forward to field hockey this afternoon, right? Now, if it gets out of control, we want to support, we want to understand more about what makes it hard for a child to get out of bed, what's making it hard for them to show up to school on time. And we want to partner with you, but we are trusting and collaborative that we're not going to abuse our attendance. Being in school on time for the whole day is the best way to create success for your child and to build those habits and routines for lifelong success. Period.
Yeah.
They need to be here and they need to show up. And we know that things happen. So no longer will the ill and tardy absent codes prevent a student from accessing their after-school activities. Okay?
Aren't there rules in the conference about?
Yes,
when
that you have to attend 4 or more classes, half your classes, right? And, or if you have less than that, you have to attend all of your classes that day. So we are still in keeping with the, all of the rules in the CIAC, which govern our conference. We have, rather than tardy being the first 10 minutes, we have made tardy the first 15 minutes and tardy absent is 15 minutes plus. That means that you showed up to class at some point. You didn't miss the whole period. Okay. And those no longer prevent you from going to your after school activity. However, what we have done, we go to the next slide. We have asked teachers to keep students after school if it's an unexcused tardy. That means a student strolls into class late, they don't have a pass, they weren't meeting with another teacher, they don't have an excused pass from the office. The teacher is going to ask them to stay after school with them, so that again, that relationship was key. Help me understand why you were tardy to my class. How can I help? Here's what you missed. Because often those first 10 to 15 minutes of class are the crucial minutes of the class. It's when things are getting set up, the agenda is being shared. Here's what we're going to do today. Here's the purpose of what we're going to do today. And when you miss that and you come in, you can be lost. So stay after school. Let's make sure you understood the intention of the day today. And that after school stay has to happen within 48 hours. So the first tardy student gets a warning. You know, what I said to kids when we had the class meetings is, The adults don't want to be in these positions, right? I don't want to be in a position where I have to take two of you out of a stall and search your bags. Don't put me in that position. I don't want to be in a position where I'm confiscating your Shake Shack milkshake and burger or whatever. Don't put me in that position.
Well,
You have
maybe,
been warned. No.
if I'm hungry.
Stays after school with the teacher, third tardy student stays after school with the teacher. Once they get to 4 or more, they get a referral to the office because now tardiness is a bit of a problem. And we
Mhm.
want to have a conversation and you'll stay with us after school for an hour detention, right? Before that, I really want to stay away from the language of staying after school with the teacher as a detention, because I think that has a negative connotation. Those first staying after school is like, let me help you, let's get caught up, let's make a plan together. And we really want to focus on relationships. And if I can have families really support that mentality, that would be really great for our growth and progress. Yep.
The definition of tardy for this purpose, is it still the 1 to 14 minutes?
If it's unexcused. So if, like, let's say a student is running late, they had to clean up their science lab, a teacher gives them a pass and like apologizes to the other teacher, right? Like, I'm sorry, the lab ran late. They're not gonna stay after. This is, I've left campus because I have open campus. I ran to Starbucks in Wilton and I underestimated the amount of time it was gonna take me to get back, or they didn't have my order ready in time. So like,
Are we given a 14-minute grace period?
no,
No,
So that's
any tardy.
so
Any
that's
tardy.
just
That's
for
for
purposes of
after
after
school
school
and like our
activities.
coding.
This is,
That's our coding.
you're a minute late, you're late. Okay, that's what I was clarifying.
And again, it goes back to that idea of courtesy, right? It is discourteous to show up late in life.
I don't just, that applies to, sorry, the freshmen right now. I mean, I'm sure there's still kids who are lost.
We are very understanding right now. I had to clarify with a family who contacted me and there's a bit of a kerfuffle. That's my new word of the year. And I had to, was your child, did they stay after for, like, were they given a detention or is this like fear of a detention? And right, so there was a little bit of angst when I announced this, right? And no, be to class on time. It was like, it was the anticipated tardy worry, right? So what we've tried to reinforce is it's also not a bad thing to get a little time one-on-one with your teachers, because we also want kids to get in those good habits. You ask seniors when they graduate, what's the number one thing that they would tell freshmen? Meet with your teachers. When you go to college, we want kids to be in the practice of showing up at office hours and having a conversation with their professors, right? That is, that curiosity to know more is super, super important. So it's a good thing. Sharon.
So I love the idea of, accountability for tardiness and things like that. And when my school growing up, it was, you could be late 3 times and then you got a detention. It wasn't with the teacher, but so you're like, oh, I can't be late one more time. I get that. And I think that we definitely need to have something like that in place. My question on this one is, teachers have office hours or extra help before school, some teachers, after school, other teachers. And a lot of that has to do with individual schedules. Some of they're all solo parents and they have other things that they have to do too. So how is this going to affect the teachers? Because now the teachers are having to serve this time with this student too. And if they have before school hours and now they have to stay after school for 20 minutes, is that going to be a deterrent for teachers marking kids tardy? And are you tracking it to make sure that we suddenly had this massive decrease, or you know what I'm saying, to just make sure the teachers aren't saying, well, I have to stay after school an extra 20 minutes and I can't do that today either, so I'm gonna let you slide this time.
So similar to cell phones, this also came out of our workshop with teachers in the spring and running our data, and we have a tardy problem, and it is rude behavior.
Oh, it is, without a doubt.
So teachers are on board. I don't think that this cuts into office hours. I think that kids can show up for extra help and we can provide them. And I actually don't see this any different from extra help, because again, the intention is, how can I help? Here's what you missed. Here's how we were starting the class. Here's why this is how we ended up. So, and I also think when we do this consistently in the month of September, you remedy it from happening in October, November through June. Okay, right. So I think that consistency piece and that routine for us is really going to decrease the number of tardies. So for right now, without other data in front of me, I'm going to assume really good intentions and that we're all on the same team.
So I have a question back to the not unexcused. So if your child is having that bad morning and you call to say, my child's having a bad morning, they will be there, but they are going to be late. What's that scenario?
Is that excused or unexcused?
So it is, you can excuse for up to 9 absences for the whole day, and then we would have a conversation. Maybe we're referring you to the nurse, right? And that you're marked ill that period. And then we would look, we're gonna do a better job of running our attendance data and having that data available at our student assistant team meetings and our admin meetings, so we can like really look at what's going on, and again, how can we help?
Right, so in the past, if I called and said that, it was unexcused. And it was like, I'm not gonna lie, right, and lots of
I
drama.
think that.
So
that
now if I
might-
say my kid's running late, they get to walk in with an excused absence. And then deal with that repercussion, whatever.
So running late is not an accepted excuse,
Okay,
right? So they would be tardy and then they would be held to staying after school. I think it's
Okay.
really important because again, we're trying to do some behavior change, right? So we don't want to create stress and pressure, right? But a little bit of stress, healthy stress is a good thing because that's what gets you on time. And when we eliminate all of those barriers to stressful situations, I think we're not building great practices. So we understand that things happen. You can call in and say, we had an upset stomach this morning, like we're not feeling great, we're ill this period, and we want you to be true. This all comes from, we want families to be truthful with us. And I think what I learned last year is, rather than telling us what was really going on, we were saying that we had an appointment. And so I said, well, we could change it and say, okay, if they have an appointment, because I know whenever I go to the doctor for my kids or dentist or whatever, the thing they ask us when we leave is, do you need a note for school? We can collect notes and say,
Yeah.
okay, you have a verified appointment. We don't have a ton of resources in our office to handle that, like those clerical things. So we're trying to remedy this. It's all with good intentions. I think having those conversations, Kelly is aware, Kate is aware in terms of the attendance line, and we really, we want people to be honest with what's going on so that we can help. And then if we're having this morning thing, morning after morning, it's really hard, then we want the school counselor involved. We want those first period teachers to be involved, and maybe they can have something encouraging to say, right? Like we want to really operate as a team to get kids in the building on time. All right. College visits are going on from September 11th through November 17th. So juniors saw, I don't know if I put all the right slides on here. I was looking at this, maybe I did. So it's changed this year. Students are gonna sign up in school links. 11th graders are gonna find out a little bit more about that in the upcoming weeks. Because the seniors who attended Camp College got their school links accounts and all that. So more is school links is replacing Naviance. So if you have an upper class parent, we think it's a more dynamic program. There are some fun activities in terms of career interest inventories and some transition plans in there that we're excited about. So all of that in terms of the college visit still has to be requested through school links, but we really want students to have a signed pass from a teacher. Because we were noticing that there were some times where the teacher wasn't aware that the student had signed up, and then now the teacher says, well, now I only had 5 kids left in my class, and I wish I had known this because I would have planned differently. So again, going back to that courtesy. Student activities is the next slide. We have a club fair coming up September 13th. So for 9th grade families and new families, that is a club fair where upperclassmen and members of different clubs and organizations here, they set up in both of our courtyards, and students have time to wander around, see what clubs are available to them and sign up. We really, really encourage kids to get involved because that's often how kids find their people in high school.
Is that during the day or after?
During the day, yep, during the day. And then for those that are new too, we have Take 10 every day. It's our 10-minute break in the morning, which kids really give us, and teachers too, staff as well. Take 10 is our 10 minutes in the morning after the second period of the day. And we're really trying to encourage students to come down and do their own announcements after Take 10 to drum up some interest, whether it's games or company or clubs and other activities that are going on. Come down, get on the PA. We're holding a phone. It's not that intimidating to make your announcement. And then I thought it might be helpful too, just so everyone's aware here, student government is the next slide. And you have these slides, so you can post them to wherever you would like. So you could see, the presidents and then the, class advisors that are assigned to each class. And then this year in athletics, the next slide, they are doing a SWC Achievement Cup. So we're always about positivity at our events. Kids know no names, no numbers, and stay off the refs and umpires and all that. This year, they're also doing a SWC Achievement Cup where schools will be rated and ranked based on their school spirit and the spectators that are showing up to games. And I know I can't remember the name of that award that we often win. In terms of our school spirit and our support of our programs. So that was fast and furious. And last but not least, at the Trojan kickoff, we did our Weston W. That is not the final, but you can see, I don't know a school around that could get 720 kids on the field to form the letter W. So that was super impressive. And we had a drone out there to capture it, but so we had Camp College this summer. Our library, we're very, very excited about some of the changes that Miss Susie is bringing. I think you can feel it already when you walk in, if you saw that affirmation wall, and she has magazines out there for the kids to read while they're here. She has a lot of great ideas. The seniors were here to decorate their cars. We had link through, so we had an awesome 9th grade orientation. I hope the kids really like that. And we're really excited for the start of the year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions I can help with? That was a lot of information. Sorry, everybody.
I have one quick question.
Yep.
For 9th grade parents, basically, is there a place where we can see the list of all the clubs?
Yes, there is a student activities page on our website. I think it's under students.
Okay.
So across the top, the scroll bar at the top, it's students, and if you, there should be a drop down to student activities.
Great.
Or student clubs and activities. Thank you.
Actually, here's one question. Are you in school when it's taking number for Naviance? Of all the students, like the upperclassmen, do they have the passwords?
They do.
This yet?
Yep.
So they're-
Seniors should already,
Right.
if not, they will, like, probably within the next week or two, but I know that. Teachers have asked, so that's gonna be a topic at our faculty meeting too, to show teachers, because kids are requesting recommendations. Make sure everybody's in. We have migrated the information that was in Naviance to
Okay.
School Life, so I don't want anyone to worry about like losing anything that was in there. And we really do feel like it's a better program.
And are the students gonna be given maybe like a tutorial as to how it's
Yeah.
different or the same as Naviance?
Meredith has a plan. I know that there was some talk at Camp College about it, so
Okay.
kids were able to get into Camp College, so it's really working with the students who didn't attend
Okay.
Camp College, but that is coming in upcoming PAC time.
We have a Zoom question. How many days are students allowed for college visits?
Like school absences.
Cassie, do you mean school absences?
Or I don't know if they're talking about passes to like an admissions officer is here. I don't know that there's a set limit. I don't know that we've ever set a limit. I've been in schools where they said you could have you could use 2 absences for college visits. I don't think that rule exists.
College visits only, she says. That, so yes, I guess you just answered the question.
I would just be mindful of days out of school. Students get 9, right? Students get 9 absences, and so you just have to be mindful and aware. Because as flu and cold season approaches.
Yeah.
The absences can add up. Okay. All right.
Do we know when the homecoming is gonna be?
Yes, homecoming, the game is September 29th. The dance is September 30th. Back to school night is September 28th. That's a bit of a week for us here. So back to school night is the 28th. Football game is the 29th. Dance is the 30th.
So there will be a dance.
There will
okay.
be a dance. It's
Okay.
on Saturday night.
I have, speaking of dance, the Evergreen dance,
That is run through ADAP.
what's,
The Alcohol and Drug Awareness Prevention group that is an outside organization in Weston. So we'll share information as a courtesy. I share it in my week ahead as the time comes. But that is all run through that organization.
But is it in June?
It's a winter, isn't it a winter?
It used to be a winter
Oh,
one,
sorry.
the history of. The change over to spring, because the first year they were able to come back with COVID. There was a concern, I think it was the Omicron variants was coming through, and they decided they were not going to pursue hosting the Evergreen Dance in winter. It's typically December over the many years. And now it's run twice in the spring. They felt good about the spring dates after they had pretty much no choice but to go with spring 2 years ago, and this past spring they repeated. So I don't know, I can't speak on behalf of ADAP what they plan to do. They may revert to winter, but spring.
Christine, can I intersect?
Yes, Sonia?
No, it's Joad. Hi, good morning. Let me lower my hand. I actually had a question too, but yes, this year it's going to be in the spring again, and it's just worked better weather-wise, and you can allow the kids to have in the places where it has been held, either at St. Francis or at Temple Israel, there is a place for the kids to also be outside and inside. So they have decided that the Evergreen event is going to be again this year in the spring. That's right.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
I actually had a question for Megan. Hi, Megan. Quick question, because our class, so 2025 never got to have access to Naviance just because it happened that it transitioned to the new system now that they're juniors, or they were rising juniors when you guys were doing the software change. Are we as parents, we're also going to have also access to this new system, right? And that's, did I miss an email about that already?
I don't know that, I'm gonna, I have my admin meeting coming up later today, so that is on our agenda. This is
Okay.
the who, when, and communications. I think that
Okay.
this was on the seniors, truthfully, because obviously.
Obviously, yep.
Recommendations and all of that coming through.
Okay.
But we will not forget about juniors.
Okay, thank you.
Your email went out last week,
Okay.
with those who are senior parents.
Okay, great.
about-
I didn't get it.
Yeah, I got one.
The junior parent, when there was an email in the summer, Jawad, for the junior parents saying it'll be available later in the fall. That was the only thing that we got. So-
Right, I read that one, yeah. Thanks, Sharon, yep. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Alrighty, thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Megan.
All right, we have a couple more things on the agenda, we'd love to try and get through, so we can. Cover everybody, what's our time? Sorry, oh, we've got 4 minutes left, all right. For those of you who can stay a few extra minutes, it's appreciated. I understand though if folks need to log off or leave as well. We plan for our communications chair, Carly, to provide an update. I don't know if she's been able to log on. She also has a little one starting school, another school. So it's on the agenda. Please be on the lookout for an email if you're a board member holding any role. She will be reaching out with an email requesting submissions from everybody. So if you've got, so if you're a chairperson for something with an event coming up next month, by all means, get in touch with Carly and submit your information that you want shared in the newsletter in a timely fashion.
It's every 2 weeks, right?
Every 2 weeks. She's getting ready to send the first submission request out. Please, if you have an event going on that is a PTO event, share photos with her so we can pop them into the newsletter too. Visuals help. People enjoy seeing all the good things that are happening that we're doing at the PTO. We also added an Instagram. It's on the agenda. We passed around early days, but we now have an Instagram account where we can feature all the photos that we've got. It's Instagram.com WHS PTO CT. but it's linkable from our new website. Rolling back to my earlier remarks, the new website is really great to have a look around. If you have any questions or things you want to add or tweak, by all means, reach out to me, or Tammy Roberts, she's our webmaster as well, would be able to update content on the website. Next we had Dawn Gregory, our BOE chairperson. I don't know if she's joined, but just wanted to say hello and welcome her and introduce her to the new role this year. Next up was Lydia.
I don't have a date so far. I didn't receive any philanthropy requests. It's really early in the year. And Megan gave an update about what's coming up.
Exactly. So if anybody wants to roll back, Megan provided a nice summary of everything we did last year for all the philanthropy requests that were fulfilled during the last calendar year. We have JC, our SPED liaison here. Do you have any updates or?
No, I mean, I need to reach out to the new families that join the SPED classes, which I'll do. I'll probably put something in the next newsletter and then they can connect so we can kind of expand our group.
Awesome. Thank you. And just since Rebecca's sitting right next to you, I'm going to keep the camera this week. Just want to introduce Rebecca Solano. She's our new family liaison. She's here to help greet families that are not incoming freshmen, but new families that are to the district and all the other grades, help making them feel welcome. And I'll hand over to Rebecca. Can you just say hello and let us know how it's going?
Yeah, I came to the new family orientation that the school did here and seemed to be really well attended. I think we have one new family, 2 members of it here. At the end, I don't know, it's Anna Maria and Stephen. Stephen. So, and your kids are in what grade?
9th, 3rd.
9th and 3rd. So I've reached out to new families. I don't know if there are other new families that are here today. I've emailed them and I will make sure there's something in the newsletter. I'll reach out to Carly also. And I'm not sure if I'm going to set up individual things. I find those things to be somewhat poorly attended in my experience over the years. You know, you put a lot of effort in and one person shows up, although one person is great, but I think it's a lot. I'm trying to find ways that are really helpful for people as far as getting questions answered and people kind of moving in the right direction. So if anyone has any ideas or suggestions, feel free to reach out. If you know of a new family that hasn't heard from me or anybody that has a question or concern, please put them in touch with me. And you know, I'm kind of formulating the role a little bit as I go to see where the needs are and where the interest is and going through them. So I certainly take all you know, opinions and advice into account and look forward to expanding the role.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. We're really happy you're helping out the role this year. Just what you're saying, I'm going to put another plug in for the after back to school night meetup. It's at Milestone, which is up in Reading, the top of Georgetown Road. Immediately following, so we're saying roughly 9:30. Please come out, new families, meet other families. It's a nice, relaxed environment just to have an informal opportunity to connect with people and get to know people. It's not as easy when you're in the high school than when you're in the lower schools and people are all active face to face. Once kids get older, there's less time and less opportunity. So I think it's a great one to kick off the year and make some connections. So thank you for your help. And we're going to jump back to the class parent reps for updates. We've got our seniors. I don't know if Casey or if you want me to. Casey,
She's gone.
I'm looking at my
So is Carly,
losing my mind.
Carly's not doing it anymore, it's Casey.
Pardon me?
Carly's, there's two, so Carly and Casey.
Carly, Casey, and Laura Carter. I don't know that Carly's been able to log on, so I'll cover briefly the senior reps report, because I'm also a senior rep. The senior sign sales went really well. Hopefully, most of you have seen the signs scattered around town. We've been very fortunate to have a local parent, a high school parent, Wendy Church Linkle. She designed our 5K logo last year, and she also donated her time and designed the class of 2024 signs. They're really nice, fun, visual. They're all over town. Sign went well, as you heard earlier. They a great benefit to our funding that we've been putting away and fundraising for the class of 2024. We are getting ready to pop some meetups on the schedule for moms. If there are dad meetings to come up, we'll post them too, but right now, there's been a request from some 2024 parents to have some informal gatherings for moms, just to go grab a coffee, grab a appetizer or something together. So we'll be putting a schedule together, just regularly scheduled times, parents can get together and connect. Again, you get to high school, you don't see those people that you started off your children's educational experience with from the lower grades. So I think it's a interesting and emotional mixed feeling kind of time period for a lot of parents. They're very excited for their students who will be graduating, but also there's all the stressors and different feelings that come about. And I think a lot of the moms who reached out would like that opportunity to reconnect and just talk to fellow parents.
Hey, can I make a request or a suggestion?
Yes.
That you use email as well, because like, I know that they have a Facebook page. And like sometimes I randomly go on and see something I had no idea that something was happening. Is there like a way that we could like maybe just double up, just that the news gets out? Like, I didn't know anything about moms or dad meetup or anything like that.
That's, yeah, I hear you, absolutely. We actually have a great solution for that with the new website. So we're going to be taking advantage of their calendar feature, which is really good, and we're going to be popping them in there. If you look on our new webpage now, you'll see Back to School Night is up there with all the information. The after meetup is on there for milestones. So that, I'm really glad you asked that, because I want to remind people to start looking at that calendar. It's a new tool that we have, and it'll help us be much better organized and getting the word out. The mom meetups are not on the calendar yet.
Is there any way that you can?
It's us, and we're going to.
And usually all this information are also in the newsletter, so if you sign up
Yes.
for membership, you will receive the newsletter with all the information.
The calendar, is there any sort of like linking your calendars to that calendar so you can? It's in
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
I did it, but then got it, like I have a kindergarten back to school night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah, unfortunately, it's one
Better to get everything in it.
And so on our page, there's, I believe, like 8 upcoming things listed. And then if you go below there, click here for full calendar. We've actually linked that together with the districts, the full districts, notes there on the bottom, just so you know when the BOE meetings are and all the other committee meetings through the BOE are happening. So it's sort of like one-stop shopping below, and right above it is a snapshot of the PTO relevant upcoming events only. So any suggestions on tweaking that are welcome, definitely.
I like knowing when kindergarten back to school night.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
It's not everybody.
Didn't scroll past it.
Wow, now I feel nostalgic. I'm thinking I'm a senior this year and I'm picturing that kindergarten moment. So I think that's it as far as rep updates for class of 2024. Juniors, Jawad, are you still on, or Megan? Looks like she's on. Mary.
I'll just give a quick update. So we had our first,
Joanne's here.
I couldn't find the unmute button. but go, sorry.
Oh, good, you're good.
I was trying to unmute, but wasn't being very successful at it. But go ahead. I won't interrupt you because we're going to say the same thing.
No, it's yours.
Okay. So, is Carrie still on?
No.
Okay, let me see. I just don't want to step on toes. Okay. Okay. So we had a kickoff meeting for this year last week, all four of us, Allison, Lisbon, Megan Burns, Carrie Schaefer, and myself. And we discussed a little bit about how we want to go about this year to organize events and or fundraisers for the class of 2025. And then we all left with our to-dos. And we are supposed to meet again. We need to set another date, but it was supposed to be in a couple of weeks to come back and circle back with our findings and then just kind of start working. In the meantime, Allison will be attending the first Student Government Association meeting that class of 2025 is going to have. And she'll bring back information from that meeting where we will once again extend our services of help and support to the students. I think that was about it, right, Megan?
That's perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sophomore, I'm having a hard time looking through all the lists. So we have a class of 2026 rep on who would like to update. Don't know that we do, or is there anybody here? Thank you. Alrighty, please grab coffee and fruit if you want before you go. Okay, and we've got our freshman parent reps. Do we have any?
Yes, we're here. So I'll just speak really fast. Hi, I'm Lauren Axelrod. Maria Nordstrom. And I think Karen, my Karen, and Karen Chilio, and we're the freshman class reps. And we are gonna have a meeting in the next few weeks and we will update you all, but I wanted to say that we were here for the freshman orientation and handed out the Weston pennants to the kids and they were really cute. Hopefully, you guys have seen them and your kids have them on walls and very well received. Yeah, the kids definitely liked them and it was a nice gift from the PTO to the ninth graders. That was it. And I'm looking to locate I think almost $3,700 that I should have, so stay tuned.
Thank you so much. Welcome. We're really happy to have you here. And is Stephanie Mars, I think she was on before. I think she may have had to log off. So just quickly wanted to let you know that you'll be seeing it on our website soon. It'll be on the calendar. There'll be a sales form. The PSAT prep course is back in the same format as the past. There'll be 2 virtual workshops. This program is something put on as a fundraiser in collaboration with Weston High School, who have 2 teachers who year after year have been kind enough to run these PSAT prep courses for students. And we've just been in touch, finalizing the dates. We're about to post it, and please look for it in our newsletter and our website. We'll send a blast out as well so everybody sees the classes. They're going to be 2 weekday options, September the 26th and the 3rd of October from 7 to 9 p.m. Those are during the week. They've done virtually. The weekend option is September 30th and October 1st from 4 to 6 p.m. The sale will be posted soon. It's a great program. Both of my kids did it. Found it helpful. It's good to kind of get a feeling for what the PSAT looks like before you do it for the first time. And is there anything I missed? Does anybody have any questions or ready for coffee and to get out of here? So, all right. Well, I just want to say thank you again to all the volunteers. Thank you to all our members. We're so appreciative. We couldn't do all the things that we do without everybody. Thank you for taking the time out of the day. People have the clock on the wall because it's not correct. It's 10:43, so only 13 minutes behind schedule. Really appreciate your patience, those of you who have been here. And if you would like to watch the rest of the meeting, or if you ever want to go back to this meeting, it will be posted online, and share it as well, so. I'm sorry, I did not properly introduce Megan Burns. She was going to come before Megan Panetta and introduce her. Megan is our VP. Yeah.
Here to support you
Yep.
all, and one of my major roles is I organize the meetings and the guest speakers, so this meeting's for all of us. If anybody has an idea of anybody they'd like to have present, or if your students are doing anything fun or exciting, just shoot me an email and let me know, and we'll definitely get them on the agenda. Our October meeting's gonna have the Community Cup organization come in. They're the student group that we gave money to last year to start their coffee sales. So they'll be here, they'll present, and also they'll have their coffee here for us to sample. So hopefully you all can make that October meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Megan.
much. Thanks.
Thanks.
And with that, this concludes our September 5th, 2023 General Board PTO meeting. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.